It's 1981 and the last day of camp at Camp Firewood, and the counselors are trying to cram in an entire summer's worth of drama, romance, and disaster into that final day. I didn't see Wet Hot American Summer when it originally came out back in 2001. It wasn't until 2015 when I was preparing to watch the Netflix prequel series. Somehow I'd never heard of this movie before, which is kind of shocking because I grew up absolutely adoring MTV's sketch comedy show, The State. And this movie shares a huge chunk of the same cast, same writers, same directors, and completely absurd humor that made that show one of my favorites. Wet Hot American Summer is a very dry, slapstick masterpiece. It reminded me a lot of Chris Elliott's TV show Get a Life, where the most outlandish things keep happening, but there never are any consequences and not a single character ever acts like anything strange is going on at all. Watching this movie again for the first time in a decade, I didn't laugh quite as much this time around, but what I lost in laughs, I made up for in the pure awe and sheer ludicrousness of the whole thing. This time I wasn't watching for the jokes, I was watching in disbelief that the movie exists at all. Everybody is playing their role completely straight, overacting like they're soap opera stars, and it works because nobody winks at the camera. The camp is falling apart, insane things are happening left and right, and everyone treats it like a normal Tuesday. Rumor is, behind the scenes, it rained the entire time they were filming, so a lot of things had to be filmed indoors or in weird locations. But if you don't know that going into the movie, it just feels like the last day of camp. There are some truly bizarre things that happen in this movie, and I do mean bizarre. My favorite parts, though, are still the jokes that have absolutely nothing to do with the plot, what little plot there is. Two things that always make me laugh are that more than half the girls in the entire movie are named Debbie. And there's always the sound effect of a stock flower pot just breaking for no reason all throughout the movie. And there are so many subplots that have nothing to do with each other, and they're just all hilarious. There's the kid who refuses to bathe, the chef having PTSD and having conversations with a tin can, who is voiced by Bob's Burgers star H. John Benjamin. The counselors' relationships are all ridiculous and hilarious, and for some reason there's a scientist working next to the camp who's worried a giant satellite is going to fall onto the camp. The cast, undeniable. The number of people who went on to become pretty massive stars in the comedy world is just mind-boggling. You've got a movie made on what is clearly a shoestring budget with a bunch of MTV sketch comedy folks, and now it plays like a who's who of the next 20 years of Hollywood comedies, including, but absolutely not limited to, Bradley Cooper, Paul Rudd, Amy Poehler, Elizabeth Banks, Janine Garofalo, David Hyde Pierce, Kevin Sussman, Molly Shannon, and more. Watching it back with the knowledge of what this cast ended up doing just adds a whole new layer of fun to the whole thing. All of these cast members are just a bit too old to be playing camp counselors, so of course, 14 years after the movie came out, they made a TV prequel where all of the actors are now in their 30s and 40s playing like 13 and 14-year-olds, which makes the whole premise even more absurd, and it works again. They even created a second season of the TV show that takes place 10 years after that initial camp. The movie is a ridiculous slapstick, absurd masterpiece, and the fact that we got 2 TV seasons years later to continue the story makes the movie that much better. This is not the kind of humor, this is not the kind of story that deserve to have that much content, but oh, I'm so glad it exists. Wet Hot American Summer is not going to be for everyone. It is weird and dry, and a lot of the humor is going to be too stupid for the average person. But if you are on the same wavelength, the jokes are hysterical. This is an old school comedy that is funny because it's funny. It isn't topical. The humor is still going to be funny generations from now. It's one of those movies that's fun while you watch it, but days later when you remember things from the movie and tell your friends about it, it gets even better. I didn't laugh as hard on this rewatch, but I walked away with a newfound respect for the movie, and I can't wait to watch it again because I know there's still jokes that I'm missing.